Welcome to Silicon Valley Successes. We interview experts and entrepreneurs to give the world access to the knowledge and experience that is here in Silicon Valley. Our mission is to create opportunities for those who seek them and help you to become the next Silicon Valley success.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Successes. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had investment bankers, we've had marketing experts, but today we have a very special guest. We have the founder of an amazing startup here in Silicon Valley as our guest. Now, instead of me introducing Maya, I'll let her introduce herself. Maya, could you please tell the audience a little bit about your company and who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Sean. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm an AI and machine learning professor, and during my PhD, I learned how to sing opera.
Wow.
Which ended up leading to me becoming the co-founder and CEO of Wave.ai when we created a songwriting AI.
Okay.
And we're actually inviting people to join our beta right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's actually, you should join our beta.
I will.
Yeah.
If you can make my voice sound okay, then your product's amazing.
It'll help you compose your song with lyrics and everything, and then you can sing it, or you can have somebody else sing it.
So this product that you're making, is it something that's going to be used in karaoke bars or at your house, or tell me the use case for it?
So it's a variety of cases, but it's essentially making up songs on which you do your own karaoke.
Oh,
so
wow.
karaoke on your own original songs, and what's really, really amazing is that it takes only about 5 minutes to write your own original song that's then ready to sing.
Okay, so I've never written a song, and you're telling me just by using your app, without years of training or that, I can actually write and sing my own song?
Yes, exactly, in 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so actually anybody can do that. You just need to sign up at withalicia.com.
Okay, say that one more time.
Withalicia.com, you sign up, and then we'll invite you to join our beta as we have more and more spaces available. And we'll have you, Sean, join the beta.
Okay.
That's going to be the exciting part.
That sounds great. So hopefully our audience at home, they'll all sign up for it. And you're going to have to come back later after the beta test is done and kind of tell us about all the progress that was made and how our audience helped you out.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, but in the meantime, though, I got a ton of questions for you about the whole startup ecosystem. What's it like to be a founder? What you've gone through? What you thought being a startup founder would be like and what it actually is. So let's just go with that question. What's it really like to be a founder of a company?
Sean, that's a really, really fantastic question. You know, I think nobody really knows what it's like to be a founder of a company until they do it.
Okay.
You know how when people have kids, everybody tells them that it's really, really hard, but they think that their case is going to be different.
Okay.
So it's the same thing with a startup. You think, oh, you know, I got this. I have all the relevant experience. It's going to be a breeze. We're going to be bought on day 3. Doing a startup is notoriously difficult because nobody has done your startup before. Hopefully you're not just imitating somebody else. So it's you really have to pave a brand new road and figure it all out as you go along. And it takes everything you have.
Okay.
Everything.
So how long has your startup been around, from the day that you came up with the idea to actually start working on it till today?
You know, I remember very clearly the day that I came up with the idea.
Okay.
I was at a conference, International Conference on Computational Creativity.
Oh, that sounds like a fun conference.
It is. It is fantastic. Highly recommended, actually.
Okay.
It's all about using the computer to create music and art and stories. It's amazing stuff. And somebody in passing said that, of course, a computer can be a co-creative collaborator, of course. And then they sort of moved on. And just everything stopped for me. I've been trying for 3 years at the time to write my own original song as an opera singer.
Okay.
And I couldn't. I didn't have the gift or whatever it is that composers have.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait, I can write for myself using machine learning, in which I've had expertise for many years.
Okay.
Write my own songwriting assistant.
Yeah.
And in that instant, and you know, sometimes when you get so excited, you think maybe I'm overreacting, maybe.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be as big and amazing as I felt it was at the moment. I got back home, I talked to my co-founder, David Locher, and we had a prototype after about 3 months.
Okay, well, let's go back. How'd you meet your co-founder?
We met at the University of Waterloo.
Okay.
years ago. And
So you're
we've done
originally from Canada and then came to Silicon Valley?
Oh, originally from everywhere, but
Okay.
I did my education at the University of Waterloo, 12 years of studying computer science.
Okay.
I mean, I was wondering why everybody else doesn't study for 12 years back then. I thought
That's
yeah.
pretty common, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
12
what we
to
do.
14, 20 years. Yeah, that's Silicon Valley. Okay.
Yeah, it was in Waterloo. It was kind of like they're trying to be a Silicon Valley in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really excellent university. It's sort of like the Stanford of Canada.
Oh, I'm impressed. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, you're at Waterloo. You came up with this idea.
No. I came
No.
up with the idea. I was already a professor at Florida State.
Oh, okay.
Florida State University. I met David Locher, our CTO right now,
Okay.
at the University of Waterloo. And we've done many research papers together before that. We did stuff with improving search engines. We did stuff with cluster analysis, all kind of machine learning.
Okay.
And
So
data
he was in
analysis.
Canada, you're in Florida.
No, we're both in Florida at
You're
that
both
time.
in
So I
Florida.
talked to him after the conference.
Okay.
And we did this original prototype as a research project because, you start with what you know.
Okay.
And what I knew, for some reason, was research, doing brand new things that nobody's done before.
Okay.
And yeah, that's my life, right? And then you publish about it and you're like, yay, I published my paper. It got into like a great conference or a great journal.
Okay. And people were giving you great feedback, and then you decided,
Well,
let's
actually,
build a company
with
here.
this product, we released it on ArcZiv, which is the equivalent of putting up a PDF file somewhere online.
Oh,
Before it was even reviewed, I get this email from New Scientist.
okay.
This person wants to write an exclusive about me for New Scientist.
Wow.
Because he found this PDF file on ArcZiv. And it's never happened to me. I did all this stuff on theoretical foundations of cluster analysis.
Okay.
Really amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Math, proofs. Nobody wanted to write an article before for lay people, but suddenly
I'm surprised.
suddenly you do music and journalists care.
Yeah.
So so we did this. We have this exclusive in New Scientist, and NBC News came and we did an article as well. But then the really great thing is that people started emailing me.
Okay.
Dr. Ackerman, can I try Alicia? It's like, well,
Okay.
not really.
So you had demand for your product before ever having a product.
Yes.
Okay. And then what was the tipping point that you're like, okay, there's so much demand, I got to do this?
The one advice I would give people is to move faster.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, I didn't do a startup to do a startup. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Okay.
I did a startup because we discovered this thing, and the world has to have it.
Okay.
It has to have it. And the only people who know how to do it are the people who did it. So we have to do it. And I think that's the only reason to do a startup, because of how insanely difficult it is. That if you have something that you must share with the world.
Wow.
So that's how it came about. And so, to be honest, I realized this has to be a startup almost right away.
Yeah.
The moment I came up with the idea, and then we had the early prototype after about 3 months, I started using it. I remember this amazing day when...
Wait, how long ago was this?
This was 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Go forward.
Yeah, okay. And I remember that evening, David and I were, by the way, after that, we had Chris join the startup as a founder, but this was very early.
What was Chris' role? Why bring him in?
He was my student, and he got involved, and it was still a research project, super early on.
Okay.
Kept the project alive, kept it growing until we finally decided we're doing a
Okay.
startup. So he got in on the ground floor.
Okay, so 3 years ago, a group of 3 people came together because of all this demand for a paper that they wrote to actually make it a reality.
Basically, yeah, but it was gradual. For 2 years, it was a research project. But the moment that I realized it has to be a startup was when we had this very, very early prototype of Alicia, and all it did back then, which is amazing, and nobody's ever been able to do it before, is to take lyrics,
Yeah.
any lyrics in English,
Okay.
and create vocal melodies for them.
Wow.
So let's say you type in, "It is so great to hang out with Sean."
That sounds like a good lyric.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then it'll give you a melody like, "It's so great to hang out with Sean," right?
That's how I would have sung it.
So we got this original version, right?
Yeah.
And it was terrible. I mean, it was in the sense that there was no user interface.
Okay.
It wasn't even displaying notes in normal notation. It had like numbers corresponding to each note. And I took it down to my piano and barely managed to read how to create that melody.
Okay.
But suddenly I could write songs.
Okay.
And so, which I could never before. I tried for 3 years and I couldn't.
Okay.
So I knew
so
it
it solved
had
a problem that you had.
Yeah.
Okay. And you knew other people would have the same problem.
Yes.
So team of 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Florida. When did you decide to come to Silicon Valley? Why come to Silicon Valley? Why not go to Waterloo or someplace else?
That's right. I actually spent a year living in Silicon Valley before.
What were you doing?
I was I was actually a postdoc
Okay.
at UC San Diego, and I commuted every week.
That sounds like an amazing university.
It is.
Those alumni from that university, probably top notch.
They are excellent. It was really one of the best years of my life, living in Los Gatos and flying every week to San Diego. And the whole year I tried to figure out, what do I prefer, Los Gatos or San Diego? And I couldn't decide the whole year.
I'm a UCSD alumni for the record. Okay.
That's right. That's right. I knew that.
Okay. So you were in Silicon Valley for a year, teams in Florida, and you convinced them to move here. Why? It's so expensive here compared to Florida.
It took a while. It took a while to bring everybody over here. Actually, Chris just recently joined us.
Okay.
Here, he finished his master's at Georgia Tech.
Okay.
And now we're all finally here. It was a process. You know, everybody had to get jobs here at first because, you know, with a startup, you don't make any money at first.
Okay, so if everyone's working, how are you able to do your startup? Was it people had 9 to 5 and then you guys worked at nights and the weekends? How did you guys plan to actually move forward? What was kind of the process?
So it was a research project for 2 years. So we did it on the side for a while.
Okay.
And then we decided we need to stop publishing papers about it.
Okay.
And start, actually, what actually happened to us is an investor got on board.
Okay. Tell me about that. Well, how did you get that meeting with the investor? How did you get the funding? And what did that process look like?
You know,
think of a brand new startup, the advice you could give them for that.
You know, my advice would be don't wait for that investor.
Oh, okay.
That actually would be my advice. My problem was I didn't know how to start. There were no people in my life doing startups.
Okay.
My parents are not business people. It's not, you know, I really don't come from the kind of background where you'd imagine me becoming a CEO. It was a very foreign concept. And so I wanted to a few times. We were thinking about 6 months into the research project. It occurred to us to do a startup out of it.
Okay.
And we sort of tried to form it, and it didn't completely catch on, and we moved on.
Why didn't it catch on? There wasn't a CEO or a leader of the group?
I think we didn't really, I think we weren't ready. I think that was, we didn't have that. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to make up reasons. I just don't know. At that point, somehow it didn't stick. We knew we wanted to continue working on it, but it just stayed as a research project. And we didn't even officially decide to not do it as a startup. It just sort of, we had the synergy for a while, and then it sort of dissipated for a bit. And then I kept thinking about it more and more. I met up with this wonderful woman. Her name is Seema, who helps a lot of women with branding and kind of following their dreams. And she told me that I should go for it if I'm thinking about it. That was kind of a beautiful meeting.
Okay.
And then she invited me. I give a lot of talks and panels, and I gave a panel talk at a fairly large event.
And this was in Silicon Valley?
This was already in Silicon Valley. Yeah, I was a professor already here. And Seema introduced me to somebody there, an investment group.
Okay.
And I gave them my card, and I wasn't sure if they were ever going to call me back. It was very ad hoc. I mean, compared to the kind of serious fundraising we've been doing recently.
So this investor group, was it just a bunch of people in a room and then you presented, or was it just a dinner? What was the...
It was so ad hoc. We got, in a way, I feel like we got so lucky. It was literally a quick introduction after my panel.
Okay.
Seema introduced me to this person. I'm not even sure if she really knew them. She said, here's Maya. She has an amazing idea for a startup.
Yeah.
I gave him a card. And then a few weeks later, it was a big gap, he emailed me, which is really amazing given how busy investors are.
Yeah.
And then we met up, and then he said he'll introduce me to some early stage investors.
Okay.
He introduced me to exactly one investor, Kilowatt Capital, and they made it an early investment.
Before we talk about that investment, I just wanted to mention that if you want more information on investors and the whole startup ecosystem here, please visit SiliconValleySuccesses.com. And information will be there and more. So let's go back to Maya. Maya, tell me about that investor meeting.
I was so excited. And I remember I felt like suddenly it could be real.
Okay.
And I remember being unable to sleep. I remember being very nervous before talking to Eric on the phone.
Okay.
Eric doesn't know that.
When you were going to talk to him on the phone, did you know, like, I'm going to ask him for money or I'm going to ask him to mentor? Did you have any idea what you're going to say?
I knew that investors give money. That's all I knew back then.
Oh, that's
right?
good.
I didn't realize that they can be amazing mentors, that I was going to learn some of the best information from them.
Okay.
I really didn't know. It was kind of honest. But what I noticed is how nervous and excited I was about it.
Now, this information that they could teach you, I mean, you're a professor of machine learning. Is it more skills or is it more just business? Is it more connections? What type of information can they give you?
Well, really all of the above. Doing a startup is different. It's kind of some of the skills of being a professor are transferable. I have
Okay.
experience in managing people. I've experience inspiring people, doing original ideas, getting project to completion. But
Okay.
a lot about a startup, about the business ecosystem, about the culture even.
Oh.
How you relate with business people is not the same way that you relate with your colleagues. For example,
Huh.
I will never forget how in an investor meeting that was going very well,
Yeah.
the investor asked me to brag about myself.
Okay.
And that really threw me off. But
Really?
then,
Why?
because it's just in academia, you know, first of all, you know who you're talking to.
Okay. Based on their research papers or
Yeah.
their titles
It's
or
very
that.
like credential based. Like
Okay.
you shouldn't have to tell anybody that you're an amazing researcher, that you've done some really important work, that you know that you're on the committees reviewing on all the most important conferences and journal reviews
Okay.
for AI. Because for me, people that I talk to in academia know that about me. They
Yeah.
know that I've done foundational work in clustering. They hear me talk for 10 minutes about my work. They know I'm amazing.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to say things like that.
Okay. But the startup ecosystem, brand new.
How are they going to know? I mean, they're not in my world.
Yeah, they're not connected on LinkedIn with you.
They're not Sean. They're not all connected with me. So it's and also they're not in my industry. So
Okay.
they might not know what does it mean to be a computer science professor. How is it different from just having a PhD? World of a difference. But
Okay.
it's not fair of me to expect them all to know that.
Okay. So would you say that startup founders might have difficulty bragging about it or selling themselves?
You just have to be honest about who you are and understand that investors are not in your world. But you
Okay.
simply need to tell them who you are in the clearest way possible.
Okay. If people want more information on that, look at the episode where we interviewed Doris from Silicon Valley Speaks. A lot of great information on your presentation. But Maya, please talk a little bit more about your encounter with investors and what's happened since then.
So this was a long time ago. So Kilowatt Capital really helped us get started, and
Okay.
it made it real. So I had a lot of super basic questions like, how do I open an entity? What kind of documents do they need?
Wow,
Like, what
really
kind-
simple.
Yeah, but at first it seems so obvious. I mean, right now it seems so obvious, but back then you have zero experience with it. Nobody around you has any experience with it. When you go online, you get a whole bunch of controversial opinions. That's one of the biggest problems with just Googling. You just get these extreme of people being sensational and arguing really unusual perspectives
Yeah.
when you just want the basics.
Okay.
And books are often outdated.
Yes.
So I really found myself in this state where I needed the advice of real people.
Okay. And the mentors or that investor was the one giving you this real advice.
Yes.
How'd you know you could trust the investor or not?
For the most part, I mean, I think part of it was that we were lucky. We really had a person who had our best interests in mind, who really believed in what we were doing. Over time, I did learn after a few months that people really have different perspectives.
Okay.
But I do think that he really helped us get started on the right foot.
Okay.
And then a few things, in a few ways, we also got lucky. So we got a good lawyer pretty quickly.
Okay.
So right now, if I have questions, I very often call up my lawyer. We have him on retainer. Huge, amazing resource. So people I get along with really well.
Oh, what resources did you outsource or go for that's really helped your team? A lawyer on retainer, an investor that's a great mentor. Who
Then
else?
we have more. We also eventually you need to go back and look at your own network. In fact, that would be a better place to start had I known
Okay.
better. So Kai Milderberger, who has been a longtime friend and colleague, he's started 15 businesses,
Wow.
and many of which are successful IPOs and sold very well. So he is right now our advisor.
Okay.
So
How do you go about finding your advisors?
so he was in our network.
Oh, okay.
And it's sometimes, even if you're pretty well connected, you might not, people who don't do business, sometimes they're not used to even using their own network because you're not used to thinking like that.
Yeah.
Because in regular jobs, even in the professor job, which is fairly flexible
Yeah.
and is somewhat similar to having a business, it's a lot more structured. We don't even realize how much structure there is in our lives until there is nobody above you in your company. There is nobody to blame. There is nobody to, there is nobody to share the, well, I have co-founders, but still there is nobody above me
Yeah.
that I can sort of defer to,
Well,
which can be hard.
how'd that switch go from being the professor where you had people you had to report to now being the boss? How was that transition?
It's a very interesting one. Overall, I think I like it. I think it fits who I am, and it's a kind of a very kind of healthy progression in my career.
Okay.
But in a way, there is a very interesting self-redefinition that happens. It's very profound.
Okay.
I found a lot of time finding myself thinking, I feel like I'm rediscovering who I am.
How was that switch with your co-founders from going from colleagues at the university to now kind of being their boss?
So my co-founders, I think that's, and everybody says that, co-founders are key. And getting along with your co-founders is life or death.
Okay.
Is everything. And I love my co-founders.
Okay.
We were doing a at some point we were doing a YC video,
Yeah.
and we found ourselves having so much fun doing it that we almost put in bloopers. So there's nothing more important than just fundamentally getting along with them.
Okay.
And if there are any problems, any disagreements, treat it like a marriage. Solve the problems, talk it out, because you want to get back to smooth as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's central. The fact that my co-founders and I are such a great team. We're great as a three people, and we're also great in pairs.
Okay.
So that really helps.
Well, what happens when you want to add people to your team? How have you gone about doing that? Because, I mean, a three-person team is not going to make a billion-dollar business. I mean, it could come close, but, I mean, how have you gone about adding new people? What has the thought process been to add new people to the team?
So hiring is very, very complicated.
Okay.
It's definitely much easier when you have more resources. It's something that we're already noticing. It's no surprise for anybody. But you really can get some good people before you have resources. People will work for equity, happily.
What does that look like when you talk to them?
So it's a process. So for example, we're very, very fortunate to have a producer, sound designer, Dusty Maraglia, who joined very early. And what I felt comfortable doing, and it's actually something that I learned as a professor, trial periods.
Yeah.
So even though we had hardly any money,
Okay.
we gave him a little bit of money to do a 1-month contract to see how we get along before giving equity.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very smart way to go.
Yeah, that is. Trial period, money, then equity.
Yeah, because if you can afford money all throughout, by all means, but until then. And he's been fantastic. He's just there, really there with us, really one of us, really wanting to see the company succeed in any way, help in any way possible. And those are the kind of people you want. Not people who are going to be like, I'm doing X, Y, Z, period. Because it's a startup, and if you guys are, we stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning regularly. This is just regular life. Somebody asked us recently, actually a really good friend, so what are your soft hours? Like, we plan time off. We don't plan time on.
Yeah.
We plan like, okay, we're getting burnt out. We need an hour off.
Okay.
On
well,
Friday.
how does that look for the team to come together and say, guys, we need to just rest a little bit? Or does that not even happen? People are always go, go, go. I mean, when do you see that burnout?
Well, if we're, getting very tired, I mean, there was a time all three of us were starting to get migraines.
Oh.
We were right around the deadline, really. I mean, I get migraines all the time, but my co-founders don't. So it was very I thought, okay, guys, I think, next weekend, let's take it easier, not work quite as much. Okay. Just so we can reset, because we need ourselves to be healthy. So that kind of moderation. But also, we really care about each other. Okay. So we don't want to push each other to, too far either. We know that we care so much that we're going to do whatever we can anyway.
So would you say once you do a startup, like truly do a startup, there's really no work-life balance, or how?
Work-life balance, that's hilarious.
All right, good answer. I think that says it all. Well, what type of time commitment is a startup? I mean, for people that think it's all glory.
All glory? Somebody thinks it's all glory?
I think a lot of people do out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I should talk to them.
I have an idea, go IPO, I live on a boat. There you go.
Live on a boat. I think if your goal is to live on a boat, there are much better ways. Yeah. Go get a boat. There are much easier ways to make money in Silicon Valley. Much easier ways. Yeah. But it's not about, I don't want to say it's not about the money, because the money is part of it. It's a package deal, because you can't succeed with a startup if you don't care about money, fundamentally, right? But if you just care about the money, there are better ways.
Okay, let's go back. So right now, finding investors, what are the next steps for you? What are you working on?
So we're finishing up our round.
Okay.
So that's really, really exciting.
Could you go, I know you can't go into too much detail, but can you talk about that process of presenting pitch decks, getting that together, meeting investors, in that a little bit more detail?
Honestly, I've never given the same talk so many times in my life. But what's really amazing is that when I look at you and I'm about to tell you about my company, I forget everything I ever said about it. And I just want to explain to Sean what I've done. Oh. You got to keep it fresh. Otherwise, you're going to die from boredom. Oh, yeah. But okay, more seriously. We had a lot to learn. Pitching is, I mean, I've done academic talks for such a long time. I've been in the media. It's like, talking is part of what I do. You know, I'm also a singer, so like, I live on stage. But this is very, very specific. You want to effectively communicate, and that's really important.
Yeah.
Your business, not your product.
Okay.
And that was a big learning curve for me.
Okay.
So your product, so your business, right? It's about the team. It's
Yeah.
about how are you going to make money. It's about your competitive landscape.
Yeah.
And as a founder, you know, I know that this is unique. There's nothing like it. It's amazing. It's the best thing since sliced bread. In fact, quite a bit better. But other people don't know that. And you need to be patient and careful and explain to them why your business is the most amazing thing in a way that they can understand.
So are you adjusting this pitch based on the investor you're talking to then?
A little bit, but a lot of it has come also from feedback.
Okay. Tell me about the feedback.
So at first it was difficult.
Okay.
At first it
Because you're a professor, now someone's telling the professor they could be wrong or change it?
No,
Or?
I think as professors you get used to accepting criticism. In fact, professors are one of the few people who'll readily say, okay, you're right, if you give them a good argument.
Okay.
But what I wasn't used to was more the culture of it, like how it's supposed to go. There's a lot to the culture of startups, a lot to how you're supposed to behave when you talk to investors, just so that it fits what they're expecting.
Well, say one or two things of how, better yet, because we're running a little bit out of time. What information do you wish someone had given you at the beginning of your journey that you know now, but you wish you had known at the beginning?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
Where do I even start? So we ended up pivoting, for example.
Okay.
So that was something, you know, I mean, I suppose everybody would have liked to know their final pivot all the way in the beginning. But that came out of a long list of meetings with investors, where finally we had an outstanding meeting where we felt like somebody was able to explain to us why our market was too small. Finally, they could explain it well. We were going to make plugins, and somebody explained to us that the most successful plugin of all time was very far from $1 billion company. And we felt from the beginning that this is a product that could work for everybody. And so we made a massive pivot, remade our whole product from scratch.
Wow.
And created something so that anybody can write a song in 5 minutes. So you have to have like really zero expertise.
Maya, can you tell everyone how they can reach you and your beta test one more time?
Absolutely. So you can reach me at, well, actually, all the information is on our website at withalicia.com, A-L-Y-S-I-A. That's the spelling of Alicia. So withalicia.com, you can sign up for the beta. My contact information is there. Happy to hear from you.
Okay. So Maya, I really want to thank you for coming on Silicon Valley Successes. And for anyone at home that wants more information on the Silicon Valley startup ecosystem, get in contact with any of our guests or anything, please visit our website, siliconvalleysuccesses.com. Our next interview is fascinating. We have two people that are going to talk about startups, leases, office space, do's and don'ts, and things to be careful of. So it's a very important meeting, and I look to see you there. All right, take care.
Thank you from all of us at Silicon Valley Successes. We hope you found the information presented today useful in your path to success. For further information on accessing the resources in Silicon Valley, you may visit us on the web at siliconvalleysuccesses.com, on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you. And remember, we want to help you in your journey to become the next success.